Yay! What's going on, guys?
What's going on, my people? What's going on, my people?
Welcome to the Conscious Outlet Podcast, featured right here on Quality Life Entertainment. Make sure you guys like the video and share the video and subscribe to the channel because we're trying to get to 1,000 subscribers. So,
and share it with your family and friends and your baby mamas and your cousins and your uncles and aunties.
That's right. There's going to be some valuable information here today.
And it's going to be a fun episode.
It is. It's going to be really fun. I'm Mirakle, Monique.
And I'm Alan J.
And this is once again the Conscious Outlet Podcast. So, as we said, this is going to be a pretty fun episode because we're going to get into some conspiracy theories.
Ooh.
Now, I say this is a fun episode, not because the other episodes aren't fun, but because when it comes to conspiracy theories, we're not going to take it as seriously. Because at the end of the day, the word is the truth, and we're abiding by the word. So these conspiracy theories that we're going to be talking about today, we're just going to see if they have any biblical basis to them at all. You know, These are things that you hear in the world and that we're kind of interested in talking about on a deeper level. Mm-hmm. And a lot of creators have talked about these things on a deeper level.
These conversations is like what you would have when you're in college, you know, you all at your apartment and, you know, somebody baking some fresh brownies and cooking some chicken or, you know, making some spaghetti or something like that. And, you know, we just going really, really deep into like the what ifs or like, hey, there could be some smoke, and where smoke is fire, you know?
Exactly. So it's one of those things where it's kind of like, could this be true? Could it not be true? We're going to find out. So let's get into it.
Yeah, but before we do that, we would like to know where everyone is from. So in the comments, make sure you let us know where you're from. If you're from Mississippi, if you're from Canada, well, or you're from Georgia. Hey, let us know because we would love to, give y'all flowers because y'all could have spent your time with somebody else.
Very
but we're
true.
glad that you spend the time with us, just like the church say.
Yes. We are so appreciative of you guys, really, really, because without you guys watching our content, subscribing to us, sharing our videos, we wouldn't be able to spread the message the way that we intend to. So we definitely appreciate it. You ready to get into it?
Oh,
our
already?
first one?
Yeah.
We're going to be talking about something really fun for the first topic. Okay, they're all fun, but I said it because why not? So again, we're going to be seeing if all these conspiracy theories have any biblical basis. So the first topic is, could aliens be fallen angels? So when it comes to this topic right here, I've always been the type, like growing up, I kind of always believed in aliens. It wasn't really until recently where I've considered the alternative that they could just be fallen angels or demons, which actually would make more sense when you really think about it, because when it comes to alien activity, you have even more questions as it pertains to God. It's like, okay, are they human too? Is there another Earth? Are they little green people? And if so, do they have the same beliefs as it pertains to God? Do they have a different relationship with God? Do they have their own Bible? Does God give them different rules? Is it the same rules but different universes? Like, you have a lot more questions as it pertains to it. But the conversation of if they're fallen angels actually makes a lot more sense because you think about the deception piece of it, right?
Yes.
And so we look at the scripture, 2 Corinthians chapter 11, verse 14. And it simply states that, it's okay.
Yeah. 2 Corinthians 11:14, and it is the NIV version. And no wonder, for Satan himself masquerades as an angel of light.
Yeah, simply put, so we understand that he does it. So, everyone that follows his trail kind of does, they obviously all do the same thing, trying to keep us straight away from God, right? So it actually makes sense because when you think about the fact that if they are masquerading as aliens or trying to convince us that there's some sort of alien activity, then that would mean, again, those questions about God would come up, and it essentially would have you believe, oh, maybe God isn't even real.
Exactly.
Or maybe we are seeing him the wrong way. Mm-hmm. Maybe he is different than the view that we have. So it makes you question who God even is. Whereas if you consider that they're actually fallen angels, it's kind of like, oh, that makes sense because they're lying to us.
Exactly.
So they're disguising themselves as aliens so that we can have these questions and essentially turn ourselves away from God. You see what I mean?
Yeah, or even not just believe in him altogether. And so, of course, that confusion part plays a role in a lot of people because we want answers, and typically we want like, hey, A should equal B, and B should equal C, and when there's no leeway to the next thing, or bridge there's where even more questions, and those questions lead into a doubt like, hey, is there really a supreme God, and is that the God of the Bible? Because
Yes.
yeah, there is so many things that just like come with that. And I know just from having friends who are non-believers, it was like, well, how come the Bible doesn't say anything about this or that? And
Yeah, I hear that a lot. Like, why doesn't the Bible say anything about aliens? Like, because the narrative now is that aliens do exist. The government is just hiding them or whatever. And now it's like, well, why doesn't the Bible say anything about aliens? Because obviously alien activity is happening. So why doesn't the Bible mention it? So clearly, God of the Bible doesn't exist, is what the logic is.
yeah, would you think that if aliens wasn't, let's say for instance, the reason why no one has any definitive like proof of aliens, that would actually be a byproduct of people having to truly believe in God? It's like, well, so that means that there is a supreme creator. And then that should lead them back to the Bible, like, hey, well, let's dig a little deeper, and let's find out, like, hey, what's some of the things that was taken out the Bible that people didn't want us to know, or stuff like that didn't go towards a certain agenda or whatever, so.
Yeah, no, that's really important because I think about people like Neil deGrasse Tyson.
Yes,
the
he's
man, I forgot his
he's
title.
a astrophysicist.
Yes,
and
thank you. I was gonna say,
kinda,
I always say astrologer, and that is
no,
not it at all.
no.
Yeah, I know. That's what he is, astrophysicist. And I don't think he believes in God. I don't remember if he believes in aliens, but I think he believes the possibility is out there. I also think he believes the possibility of God is out there too.
Exactly.
But I think he's open to both, but I think he's more so leaning on the side of there not being God because of how he sees the universe and in its makeup. And that's why I said this leaves room for doubt when it pertains to like alien activity, because now that we're seeing more of it, as far as like, for example, what just happened in Miami, like 6 months ago at this point.
Yeah.
No, it couldn't have been that long ago.
No, it was more like 3 months.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, 3 months ago, yeah. Where, if y'all are unaware, there's like a mall in Miami where there were multiple reports of like 7 to 8 foot tall, lengthy humanoid beings standing outside the mall, and it was like freaking everybody out to the point where the entire police squadron came down there to check it out. Like, roads were blocked off. It was a crazy situation. You can look it up. And as soon as everything pared down, the police officers were like, oh, it was a couple of teenagers doing fireworks and stuff like that. And I'm like,
and like a big fight, went out and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I can see that, but at the same time.
But people were describing something completely different. People who don't even know each other.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
So, there's just so much to just unpack with that. I'm not even going to get into that.
Yeah. I think, I'm going to see if I described this correctly. So I think the world in general, or the government, whatever, the people that are against God's will, basically the people and spiritual powers that are against God's will, I think what they're trying to do is implant that doubt, while at the same time not giving us like the obvious truth, so that way the confusion can consume us. and that way they can associate God with confusion.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Yeah. I think it was like a quote: if you keep a nation deaf, dumb, and blind, that you can basically control each and everything
That was
you.
in Leave the World Behind, I think.
Oh yeah.
I
That movie
think.
was definitely amazing. But
Yeah, it was.
I think it was. And
Yeah.
So in that little quote or phrase, I think that's what's been happening, for so long. Because it's like, hey, people. I mean, I think I guess the top 1%, or whoever governs the world or whatever, like they actually don't want that. They don't. Well, no. They do want people depending on information that they give, because it's the same thing of like, okay, once you actually so like how basically how the world was, made for you to work in a factory, basically for you to be a lab rat, go in a circle, and you basically work your whole life. You have a little time for retirement to live, and then you die. But they don't want people to go and expand, because once you expand, you're going to question things, and when you question things, that means that you understand it enough so you can be more conscious. So
Yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense because me believing aliens exist in the first place led to me eventually believing that aliens could be fallen angels.
Yeah.
Because I was questioning everything. And of course, the information was limited at the time when I was questioning about aliens in general. And then I just determined that, okay, maybe aliens and God can exist at the same time. And so.
do you think that people are using the word alien as a more like a subcategory? Is like, because alien in like the Hebrew basically means a foreigner.
Yeah, it does.
And so you really have to dig a little bit, deep into, stuff like that. But yeah, that is definitely important, to definitely understand that how we read things, and also the context of that, especially in scripture, when it comes to that or whatever. Because like there are times to where, depending on what version of the Bible that you read or whatever, it may say, yeah, this person was an alien to this land. And if you don't know, people are like, oh, is that the little green man with the big head that's, from off of X-Files or whatever?
Good point. Yeah, I know, right? Good point. Yeah.
And shout out to Scolder and Modi, if y'all don't know.
Is that from X-Files?
Yeah, I
I've
don't
only
know
ever
if I
seen
said
one
the name
episode
right,
from
really.
X-Files. It was the episode where they were like, it was like an inbreeding family,
Mm-hmm.
and like one of the babies died or something at the beginning, and they were trying to figure out where the rest of
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's the only episode I've ever seen. I'm gonna watch it though. I feel
Yeah.
like it's pretty good. But yeah,
It's a classic.
but yeah, regarding the alien as fallen angels conversation, I want to get into this video where it's the YouTuber, The Wise Disciple. He talks about a lot of his purpose on YouTube is to basically help you become a better Christian. And he talked about in a previous video that we're not showing, he talked about how he confirmed in his understanding that aliens are fallen angels. And in this video we're going to watch, he's talking about why. And so that's what we're going to be discussing as it pertains to that video. And yeah, we're just going to check out kind of what his thoughts are on that.
Craft at Roswell, for instance, you'll read about, again, exotic things that, oh, we don't know how this works or what it is. And then they'll have things like gears.
Roswell was the crash of a secret plane that we invented.
If it was a physical object, you would get a sonic boom. You would get a heat friction trail.
That's why I say this is not extraterrestrial activity. This is paranormal activity. By the way, I'm going to show you an actual abduction story in just a moment, where the man called out to Jesus Christ, and what happened next was fascinating.
Okay,
recently I posted a
Let's start at like 5 minutes. Yeah, that's good.
Worked on
Okay.
secret technology projects for Hitler. We know all of this because it all came out eventually. I mean, initially it came out, journalists broke the story on this project a couple of years after it was initiated. The US government secretly brought Nazis into our country in order to work with our own scientists and create new technologies. That's not a conspiracy, guys. That's history. And based on that operating theory, Roswell was the crash of a secret plane that we invented with the help of technology and scientists from Germany. I mean, you know, Hitler and the Nazis were known to have worked on flying craft that were wingless. And when hundreds of people witnessed the crash and it became huge news, the go-to cover-up story was, oh, UFOs, guys. Aliens from another planet, guys. Why? Well, two reasons. One, because there were previous UFO sightings in the skies leading up to the Roswell crash. And so the government probably just latched on to those other sightings and tried to further that. And two, because there was no way the American public was going to react well to discovering that we had smuggled in Nazis who committed war crimes to help us invent new technologies. So what does this have to do with aliens and UFOs? Chuck Missler was suggesting that disinformation was key to the confusion surrounding the sightings of UFOs in our skies. And I just put words to how our own government actively took part in providing disinformation, in furthering this story about aliens from other planets because they were trying to cover up their own secret, unethical projects.
The problem with UFOs is, on the one hand, we find them reported by multiple competent witnesses. They plot on radar. They leave tangible evidences on the ground, radiation and burns and other things. They're photographed. On the other hand, they're clocked at speeds of over 6,000 miles per hour without generating sonic booms. They make right-angle turns at incredible speeds, which imply that they're free of mass, as we would understand it. But here's the most disturbing thing of all. Frequent reports indicate they appear to materialize and dematerialize without any other traces. So on the one hand, they're real. On the other hand, they don't seem to be real.
Okay, you got that? This is why I said in the previous video, these do not appear to be physical beings. At least if the idea is that these are material beings from another planet, flying around in a physical craft, entering our atmosphere, that cannot be it. Why? Because physical craft don't exceed the sound barrier without creating a sonic boom. The most recent confirmation of this that I can remember is John Ratcliffe, who was an ex-intelligence officer, I think under Trump. He confirmed that the Pentagon has footage of UFOs breaking the sound barrier with no sonic boom. As a matter of fact, some of those videos are leaked and they're available on YouTube. And you can see this for yourself. Not only that, but these craft can make absolutely ridiculous turns at speeds that would break apart any other physical craft at the speeds that they're traveling, and yet they remain intact. They're perfectly fine. You don't need to be a Christian to draw the conclusion I'm about to tell you, but these are not physical craft. We are witnessing with our eyes and our technology non-physical craft that are materializing and dematerializing. Come on! They're coming from another dimension, y'all.
Nations do not plot on radar.
The Bible tells us God created two different species of intelligent life, one that's constrained by the physics of the universe and one that is not. And we're talking about humans that are indeed constrained by the dimensions and laws of physics of the universe, and angels who are not. And these angels live in a different dimensional realm, but God has given them the power to come in temporarily into our realm. So I think that's where that 1% residual falls. And some of the strongest evidence for that is that where you got multiple observers tracking a UFO going through the atmosphere, which means we can actually calculate its trajectory and velocity. And the velocities often run between 5 and 25,000 miles per hour. But the observers never record the occurrence of a sonic boom or a heat friction trail behind the UFO. Mm-hmm. If it was a physical object, you would get a sonic boom. You would get a heat friction trail, just like you do when one of the spaceships go through our atmosphere from the International Space Station. However, there are
Hugh Ross, the person who's speaking now, is another voice that I trust in this field. So I'll tell you, there's a great book called Alien Intrusion by Gary Bates. It's probably the best book on this subject that I've found. That in the sense of it collects a lot of the data on UFOs and alien abduction cases and puts it all in one place. There are a lot of other kinds of resources that also are excellent and for different reasons.
Okay,
but
let's
that book
pause.
it was a
So that was interesting.
Yeah, materializing and dematerializing. And so basically, maybe for some of those that don't know what that means, it means that, hey, it's here and then it's gone. And then
Now you see it, now you don't.
exactly. And so with that, there's so much that you can kind of unravel and unpack from that. Of course, it's if we want to just even make it even more real. So you know how you watch maybe this probably didn't come on Animal Planet that people go out into these haunted houses and then like they see this little bowl of light and then it disappears or they're
Ooh, good
know.
point.
Exactly. So
I didn't even think about
you
that.
know that can be
Ghosts, yeah.
yeah.
That actually makes sense.
Yeah, that can
Duh.
be a unidentified, foreign object as well, but it's right in front of us. But no one never, sees it like that. Is because it's like, okay, well, I see it. I see it. So like we call it a orb because we have given a name to it at that
Based
time.
on
It's
its
like,
shape.
hey, this is a energy. That's the same thing, but but of course, our mind is going to lead us to the next thing. Okay, so why are we seeing this?
Yeah, what's the logical conclusion that I
what's
can
the
come up with?
purpose or whatever? A lot of times, if we even just think about it, everything has laws. Even of course,
Yes.
the
God
Bible,
loves order.
the Holy Bible has the principles and laws that we live by. That we should live by in order to be fruitful and without trying to get into like I would say just super deep because there is so much. Once again, there's so much to unpack just even in the little things that we're talking about because I know that we have listeners that may not know much about the word and it goes really really deep and like just even reading the word I think that, and I'm not getting off topic right here, but the word isn't a symmetrically ordered book. It's expository. So basically, you got things that's written over here, things that were written over here, and then you have to bring it together just like a sandwich. And so that in itself requires you to do hours of studying and yeah. So I just wanted to give that little tidbit because when it comes to that unidentified foreign object, like we probably have went by it and seen it and we don't know like maybe out of nowhere why did we end up getting upset at someone or lashed out. That's a spirit and that's something that or people would say a energy that end up changing the whole ecosystem or the whole mood in a room. But we like to maybe bring it down to our carnal mind or our natural mind and because we don't know enough about the spirit side. And so we try to give it a name. Oh, it's a unidentified foreign object. So
Yeah, no, that makes sense because when it comes to things like aliens and ghosts, haunted houses, and things that you see one minute and don't see the next, like all that can be is really attributed to the spiritual world.
The
because
unseen.
The unseen, exactly. Mm-hmm. And when it came to Hugh Ross, the older white man explaining that on the video, he was explaining how, God created two beings, the beings, us, that are confined to the limitations of the material world. And then those other beings, angels,
yeah,
that are, that are not confined to those limits, that can go in and out and become dematerialized back into the spiritual realm and become unseen again. And so that makes sense when it comes to the alien activity and other spiritual activity you see in like more of the scarier parts, like haunted houses and stuff like that. And I'm not going to show this part in the video because it's simple to explain, but he was going to show later on in the video how as more proof for the alien activity really being fallen angels, aka demons. He was explaining how when it came to people that have claimed to have been abducted or about to be abducted, that when they called on the name Jesus, they were immediately let go, and that thing left them alone.
That's very interesting.
Why would aliens care about the name Jesus? You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
If they're aliens and they want to probe you or abduct you or whatever, they're going to do that regardless of what you scream out. But apparently there's a stronghold on that name. There's something strong and mighty and powerful about that name that would make those beings go away. And it's because those beings relate to them being likely fallen angels that you have somehow in your life given access to. Somehow.
Yes.
And by access, I mean, it could be through anything. Maybe you recently had a psychic reading. Maybe you read some tarot cards. Maybe you looking at your zodiac sign. Maybe you paid a little bit less attention to your surroundings as it pertains to what people were speaking over you. Things like that can open doors, and suddenly you're allowing different spiritual things to come in and take form and call different things out into your life. And now those things can look like alien activity. I remember a movie I watched. I don't remember the movie name, but it was about these two boys. These two boys were sexually assaulted when they were like 8 or 9 years old by a coach. And one of the boys could not remember that assault. As he got older, he couldn't remember it, but how he remembered it but differently. He remembered it as him being probed by an alien. So he would have.
What does probe mean, Miracle?
Well, probed is like, when they stick something up your butt and they like probe you and try to find out your insides as a human, basically dissecting you, I guess. As you're alive.
Hopefully none of our listeners haven't been, probed. If you are, there's a hotline out there. So.
What are you talking about? Really? Anyway.
1-800 you have been probed. But go ahead.
Oh my God, I can't with you. But he would imagine that assault as him being like probed and attacked by aliens. So as he was like becoming an older teenager, he would continue to have those dreams as him being probed by an alien. So that shows you how our minds can distort truth, how our eyes can distort truth, and how our memories are not reliable regardless.
Yeah.
And so with these people that have been abducted, just because they say they've been abducted, that doesn't mean that is what has taken place. It could be others. It is likely other spiritual factors going on there, like I was explaining. Mm-hmm. And so that's why when you hear those cases of people who have called out the name Jesus and these things have left them alone, it's amazing to find out that that's actually in alignment with the word.
You know what? You just made me think about something. And this right here, and a lot of people have experienced it, and I have too. So check this out. So you were saying once a person called out to the name of Jesus, that thing left them alone. So the scientific world calls this sleep paralysis.
That's exactly what he said in the video. Yes.
Yeah.
He said they were having sleep paralysis.
So I remember this was in the country in Lexington, Mississippi. I was playing Grand Theft Auto for about 14 hours straight. And I end up going to sleep on the floor. This was probably I'm like 14 years old. I went to sleep, and what's crazy is I was conscious of me being asleep, but of course it was darkness all around, and like I'm gonna say, as much as the scientists have studied the pattern and like the REM of sleep and everything, they still can't quantify it. They really still don't know what it is, what it's doing, and everything. And so, like, when you're asleep, you're conscious, but you're actually in your subconscious. So you're in a different dimension and don't know. And so
That's true.
yes, getting back to that story is I felt like I wanted to get up, but I couldn't. And like
That's scary.
in my sleep, I'm talking to myself. I was like, "Hey, I'm trying to get up." I was like, "Okay, I'm trying to get up. I'm not sleepy anymore." But something had me, and kid you not, I said, "Oh God, please help me." I feel like in my dream state, I felt like only maybe 5 minutes went by, but it was the whole entire new day.
Ooh,
And
that's scary.
it kind of freaked me out because I asked my uncle, I was like, "Hey, did you see me laying on the floor? Did I move?" He was like, "No, he was like, man, you was asleep. I was trying to wake you up and everything." But he was like, he was like, "Grandma cooked and everything." I was just like, "Really?" And I think I read a story to where people had, well, I don't know how somebody else would know somebody was in a sleep paralysis, but they went to sleep and just never woke up. And so the scientific world again would say, hey, they died of natural causes. A person who's perfectly healthy, who, went to the gym and did, everything, who ate right. So they just died. See, they typically name it natural causes is because they don't know what happened.
So
And
how is it natural? When they
Exactly.
don't know, it could be unnatural.
Exactly, because when
Or
you're
supernatural.
yeah, when you're tapping into that unidentified space, I see that we gotta come in from Stan. Get up, I'm not sleepy anymore. Stan, I don't even know what that comment came from.
We gotta read them
Oh,
earlier.
okay. Just what I just got done talking about.
Oh.
Okay.
Oh,
First,
the sleep paralysis.
yeah. Okay. My bad. But that in itself, to me, it was a identifier that other things play a role in just me having control in it. And so like, what is the name of that book the audio book that you had me to read about?
The Game of Life and How to Play It. Amazing book. I highly suggest. The audiobook is on YouTube. It's amazing.
Could you tell them a little bit about that?
Oh man, who's it by? Florence something.
Okay. Yeah, that doesn't matter. Just tell them about it.
Okay, I just wanted to tell the author's name, but it's called The Game of Life and How to Play It. I think it's the best way I can describe it is a book based on the principles of the Bible, and it applies these principles to different situations you could find yourself in. And the purpose of the book is to basically help you apply these principles in your life in a more practical way, I guess. So, yeah.
Yeah. I just wanted people to know, like, knowledge is power, but that knowledge can go on either side. And so regarding the things that we see and consume or we think that we see and it's like, okay, that can't be real, stuff like that. Because it's so many different sides that you can go with when it comes to all the things that was, being said by, what's the guy name you said on here? What's his name? Frost? I mean, the guy.
Which one? Which one? Which guy?
From the video.
Yeah, which one? The one that we're reacting to?
Yeah,
or the one he's reacting to?
Yeah. The one that he's reacting to.
Hugh Ross.
Okay.
The older white guy? Yeah, Hugh Ross. Yep. Don't know his title.
Yeah.
I forgot.
Okay,
Sorry.
it's all good. Good.
I think it has something to do with astrophysics.
I mean, he definitely did. Is because, I mean, you don't have to be you don't have to be an engineer like myself to actually understand that if something can do a 90-degree turn going 6,000 miles per hour without any type of sonic boom, or leaving any type of trail, that is where he was talking about that it's
Non-physical
yeah,
matter.
it basically materializes and dematerializes, and so it's like, hey,
So true.
where is this coming from? And I know we can go down a rabbit hole because we can start talking about the Bermuda Triangle, and that's known that people just
Mothman.
hold on, Mothman. What is that?
I don't know why I mentioned that, but hey, Mothman could be a flying demon who materializes and dematerializes, or
I
like
don't.
Jeepers Creepers. You never heard of Mothman?
Not
He's
really.
basically Jeepers Creepers, but
Okay.
in real life.
Okay.
You never heard of Mothman?
I think did they
Like,
make
never-
that out of a movie?
They probably did make a movie out of
think-
it,
okay.
yeah. But I don't know. I want to touch on something you said right quick. You said knowledge. What'd you say? You said something about
Knowledge is power.
and that can be had on both sides, something like that.
Yeah.
That reminds me of the movie Nefarious. Didn't you watch that with me? Or did I watch it with my mom?
Yeah,
Did
you watched
it
it with me.
Okay.
Not I watched it with you.
What'd you say?
I said not I watched it with you. I put you on to that movie.
No, you didn't. We watched it at the same time. How'd you put me on? It's not like you watched it first.
Okay, go ahead.
I'm just playing.
Yeah.
But it reminds me of that movie because in that movie, there's like a psychologist talking to someone who claims to be a demon. And he was like, the psychologist is asking the demon, he says, do you believe in God or something like that? Or what do you believe or something like that? And Nefarious, the demon, he says, we don't have beliefs. We have knowledge. We know. That's what he said.
Yeah.
And I was like, ooh, that is true.
That's
because yeah, it really is. Especially the way he said it, which is very like eerie, but especially in the way that he said it, because it acknowledged that just because you know something to be true doesn't mean you're gonna be on the right side of it.
Exactly.
You know, because he knows everything to be true, but he even knows that the enemy is still going to fail at the end of all this, but he's still trying to, as a demon, he's still trying to help the fall of humanity. And so it was really crazy when it came to that.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's actually really, really deep when you think about it.
I
Like,
know.
for him to have that, answer and
I
stuff
know.
like that. But I know that we're gonna later on in the show we're gonna get to the eerie and spooky stuff about about the talking about the demons and fallen angels and stuff like that.
Oh
But,
yeah, definitely. I forgot about that. Yeah,
exactly.
we are. But yeah, I want to get into our conscious way quote too. Jocelyn! Hey, Jocelyn.
What's going on, Jocelyn? What you think about the show? We would love you all comments once again. All of the people who are watching right now, it is imperative that you all, communicate with us because we want to get maybe some of your stories. If y'all had experiences with, aliens or anything.
Yeah, do y'all
we wanna,
believe in them?
Yeah, exactly.
What do you think?
I would like to know if you've been touched, because some people have been touched before, and we
Not
just want
have
to
you
make
been
sure,
touched.
we want to make sure everything is
Yay,
good.
Thank you, Jocelyn. We appreciate it.
Thank you, thank you.
I want to get into our conscious way quote. You want to read it?
Yes, the conscious way quote of the day is: as we explore the possibilities of extraterrestrial life, let's anchor our inquiry in the eternal truths of Scripture, remaining vigilant against deception and seeking discernment in our own pursuit of knowledge.
Amen.
Amen.
I think they're fallen angels.
At first, I did not think it, and I was trying to do like more research on it, and I definitely have to get back to everybody once I find some, because like I like to get into like the data about it, but it's not, data on, aliens. Is because I would say that to me, at first when Miracle brought it up, I was like, oh my God,
Well,
here
it's a
she goes with these conspiracies. But what actually happened once I started to think about like a knowledge I already have, like with the pyramids. Oh, okay. She said that she thinks that they're fallen angels too. Jocelyn.
Jocelyn said that?
Yeah. So the
Great
reason
minds
why
think
I
alike.
think it is because based on the research, even from archaeologists and everything special what they've done with Egypt in
Good
Nairobi, I think.
point. Yes. Forgot to mention that.
There is no way that the Egyptian slaves could have structured those. I think they were like maybe like 2-ton type boulders and stuff like that, and for it to be perfectly crafted how it was. And so they say that it had to be some alien knowledge that they got, but actually I think that it was most likely could have been an angel during the time, or it could have been a fallen angel. So because
Well, I would say fallen angels because angels probably wouldn't do that, right?
what help them
Right?
build a temple.
I don't think so.
Well, you know
right?
what, maybe so, because I want to say they worship like other deities and stuff.
Yeah, because like Egypt was like the hot spot for like them worshiping other gods. You know what I mean? And so I mean, that's. Let me start over. So I agree with you.
Mm-hmm.
And as it pertains to Egypt, I think that they were given the technology to build those pyramids and come up with all the other advancements that they had at the time that were kind of futuristic and sort of impossible to have at that time period.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people did think, aliens were helping them. But I do think that now that I'm thinking of it, I think it was the work of demons, because the Egyptians at the time, they worshiped different deities that that were very popular and to Egypt at the time, to the point where even when Moses was leading his people out of Egypt, the plagues that went forth in Egypt, each plague made fun of a deity that they were worshiping at the time. And so that's another reason why I believe that God was, punishing Egypt during that time, because that he knew that, I mean, of course he knows, but he knew they were getting that those advancements and that technology and that knowledge from the enemy.
Yeah, from the fallen angel.
Yeah, exactly.
And it kind of makes me think about what we spoke about earlier. So having that knowledge and that power is not necessarily a bad thing, but it could be a good thing for the advancement. But at the same time, anything that's against God's will is demonic.
Yeah.
And because like I think people think about evil or something regarding the devil as, oh yeah, somebody's possessed. No, it can be some very simple stuff. See, we got a comment. Pyramids were already built before the time.
Well, we didn't
Moses.
say they weren't. What I was saying is during the time Moses took his people out of Egypt, the plagues that were sent in Egypt, each was basically making fun of a deity that they were worshiping at the time. And as far as the pyramids, yeah, that happened centuries before, I think. And again, that technology was given to them by fallen angels parading as different deities that the Egyptians were worshiping.
And also, for our producer, if he has anything that he want to add to it, hey, because I think that he has a world of knowledge. Yeah, okay.
He said, I don't touch on this stuff. So this ain't my
ministry.
Yeah.
But we are glad, Stanley, that you are definitely active, because I mean, we like to be challenged. Is because I want to know a little bit more about it. All of that is really, really important.
Oh, for sure.
I mean, iron sharpens, iron, and so hey, if it's something that don't seem right, what we say, hey, bring it on, brother. Hey, we all about delivering the conscious truth. So.
Well, I didn't really see it as a challenge, more like an addition.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't see it as a challenge.
So you believe it's aliens, Stan? I feel it.
Okay, Stan.
I feel it. I get it.
And Stan, he has definitely he spent thousands of hours in the church, because he played he played everything, the organ, the piano,
That's
and the film guy. So yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
I feel it.
All right.
Yeah. All right. Well, any final thoughts on that?
No, I would say that I'd just like y'all to, if you got any more like evidence, for you all to send it to us.
Yeah, let us know.
You can hit us up on the Conscious Outlet Instagram page. You can hit me up personally, or Mirakle up. Yeah.
I don't check DMs. I'm kidding.
Well, I check them. So.
I'm kidding. But yeah, definitely let us know. We take all the information. So hey, whatever works.
We'll be right back.
Thank you guys.